In just under 2 weeks, Oklahomans will decide who will fill U.S. Senate seat being vacated by Jim Inhofe after almost 30 years.
There are 4 candidates, but for most voters, it's going to come down to a choice between Republican Markwayne Mullin and Democrat Kendra Horn. Alex Cameron has a closer look at the race tonight from our News on 6 Washington Bureau.
Oversimplified, this is a conservative Republican versus a moderate Democrat. Kendra Horn had hoped that voters would get a more nuanced understanding of the race through a live televised debate, and Griffin Media offered to host one, but Markwayne Mullin has said no thanks.
I don't have any interest in sitting there on a stage with someone that just constantly wants to attack you.
Anyone that won't show up and answer questions doesn't deserve to have our votes.
Markwayne Mullin says he'll answer any constituent's questions. He's just not going to do it in a way that potentially benefits his opponent.
She needs attention, and she wants to use us to get there. Why would I give her that attention?
Kendra Horn says this isn't about getting attention. It's about respecting voters enough to be willing to publicly defend one's record.
And I'm sorry, but a real man would show up and answer questions. Oklahomans deserve better than that.
At this point, we're running our race. Let her run her race, and we'll see what happens November 8th.
45-year-old Markwayne Mullin lives on a ranch in rural Westville, a stone's throw from the Arkansas line. A successful businessman who's been representing Oklahoma's 2nd District since 2013, Mullin says he wants to be in the Senate because he could more effectively protect small business from overreaching federal agencies there.
And all the head of every one of those agencies, they get confirmed through the Senate. I want to be there. I want to look those people in the eye and want to ask them, what's your purpose? When you get over that agency, what's your purpose? Is it to pick winners and losers? Is that up to the consumers to do that?
So help you God. Congratulations.
46-year-old Chickasha-born Kendra Horn is seeking a return to Congress, having represented the 5th District for one term before losing her re-election bid 2 years ago. Horn says in a storm of unproductive finger-pointing and extremism on both sides, she offers a voice of reason and belief in bipartisanship.
That's the way things should be. That's the way I work. I did not, nor will I ever, take an oath of allegiance to a party or a person. I know that. I am very clear on that. I will work with anyone when it's good for Oklahoma. I will stand up to anyone when it's not.
But where do the two stand on the issues? On inflation, probably the top concern for most voters, Mullin blames out-of-control spending by Democrats coupled with poor policy.
Let's just look at his energy policy. You can't have an affordable economy if you don't have affordable energy. Energy is the backbone of every economy.
Horn says not only do we need affordable energy, we need economic policies
that incentivize innovation and entrepreneurship and job growth and opportunity, but also ensure that we are not allowing more and more people to fall through the cracks.
On energy policy itself, Horn is sharply critical of the Biden administration and the notion we can just flip a switch to all renewables.
As a state and as a nation and as a world, we need more energy, not less. That means we need an all-of-the-above approach.
Mullin says American energy has to be fully unleashed.
You have to get energy independence back on the forefront, and there's no reason why we aren't. When we are energy independent, we control our energy costs.
On continuing to provide aid to Ukraine, Mullin believes Putin is dangerous and must be stopped, but says America can't afford to be the main funder of the fight.
We need to make sure we're shoring our own house up before we're dumping money into another country right now. We've done a lot already.
Horn says we absolutely must continue to support Ukraine and our European allies.
And this is an example of why we need both a strong military and a strong diplomatic corps, and all military leaders will tell you that as well. We have to have both.
On securing the southern border, Horn says the need is real, but the solution doesn't lie in the extremes.
We have to make sure that we're treating people with dignity and respect, but also protecting ourselves at the same time. These two things can also coexist.
Mullin says Congress needs to pass immigration reform, but claims Democrats, as much as they complained about it in the Trump years, aren't actually interested.
They've been in charge 2 years, and they've done nothing. Zero. Zilch. Because it wasn't real to them. It's just something that they want to use as a talking point.
On the bipartisan infrastructure bill, which included $550 billion in new funding for roads and bridges, rural broadband, rail, and ports, Mullin says too much of it was not actual infrastructure.
I'm not going to vote for a ton of wasteful spending. Wasteful spending is what got us into this mess to begin with.
Horn says she would have voted for it and that Mullin put politics over people.
That infrastructure bill is $5 billion worth of investment for Oklahomans. These are critical things that are going to help us build and grow.
And on abortion rights, Horn says it's a difficult issue, but it's not hard to see that women's rights have been wrongfully stripped away.
My opponent not only supports that, he has said he wants a nationwide ban on abortion with 0 exceptions for rape or incest or the life of the woman.
Mullin says he's fighting to protect all babies, and while he'd rather see states put their own abortion bans in place, he would likely support a federal ban.
It depends on how it was written, but if that's what it took to try to protect the babies, I would.
Mullin and Horn both have aspirations to serve on the Senate Armed Services Committee, as the retiring Senator Inhofe currently does. This past summer, Inhofe openly criticized Mullin, but then turned around and endorsed him in a tweet the next month. Election handicappers here see this as a sure win for Mullin, but Horn says she was also counted out in 2018. In our Washington Bureau, I'm Oklahoma's own Alex Cameron.